Hi, I'm Joe Bressler and I'm a filmmaker based in Brooklyn, New York. Standing out as a filmmaker in today's increasingly competitive landscape can be difficult, especially if you're starting from scratch. It can be hard to understand how to get the most out of your time, and it can be stressful to figure out where the next job is coming from. Luckily, we live in arguably the best era for building your own personal brand online. Let's dive into how to do that so you can stand out, land clients, work with brands, and build your own version of success as a filmmaker. Personal brand is how the world perceives you and your voice as an artist. Having a strong personal brand can create a memorable connection between you and your audience, whether that's other filmmakers online, brands, or potential clients. It can also open up opportunities that can save you from waiting around for the next gig, and let's be honest, that's the worst part of being freelance. So here's a quick personal example. I've been sharing my work online for a while. I've been a freelance filmmaker for 10 years now, and I've always had a website. About 2.5 years ago, I started posting some of my personal work on YouTube and found an audience pretty quickly. I was super frustrated before that, trying to figure out exactly how to market myself as a filmmaker. It seemed like I was at the mercy of needing brands to contact and hire me to make work that I could share. And if work was slow, I was stuck. And that was one of the main reasons I just started making my own stuff. But what really helped me on my journey was getting in front of the camera and sharing my experience, which was scary. Like, what if people thought I was corny, or if they made fun of me online? But encouraged by my small audience's response to my work on YouTube, I decided to hop in front of the camera anyway and break down the process behind my work. While I'm still at the very beginning of my journey, as I made these videos about 6 months ago, I've already opened up opportunities to collaborate with brands, made a little bit of money to fund more personal projects, and found arguably the best free way to market myself online, in my opinion. And I'm really excited for what the future holds as a content creator on YouTube and Instagram as I continue my filmmaking journey into its second decade. So I think the first step is to identify your personal brand. And the first part of that is defining your style and values. Are you interested in super gritty documentaries or polished cinematic music videos? Or maybe you'd like to make narrative films and so far you've only been hired to make docs. Think about your favorite kinds of films or the films that you'd like to be hired to make and use that to help define your niche. Basically, what do you want to see in the world? I got my start making a lot of work in fashion and documentary, but I wanted to expand my cinematic palette. So I made my own fashion films that looked different from what I was being hired to make. Or I also directed music videos my way with artists I personally know and connect with. Sharing my process of making this work and why I was making it was helpful in cementing my personal point of view as something that was uniquely mine. The next step is understanding your target audience, and knowing your audience helps you connect better with the right people. And in my case, I wanted to attract commercial clients, but I also wanted to connect with other indie filmmakers and provide value to them by sharing my process online. I did this by creating a combination of new work in the style that I wanted to get hired to make more of, and by showing the world how I made it. Once you've identified what your POV is or your personal brand, now it's time to craft your online presence. And the first part of this, still, there's no way around it, is building an amazing portfolio. You should constantly review your portfolio. Make sure it's easy to navigate and that it includes thumbnails that paint the clearest picture of not only each project, but your personal style as a whole. I personally love to use animated GIFs instead of stills. They really come alive and give a super strong first impression. Create consistent content. Now this part is the part that I don't see people doing, and maybe it's because they feel uncomfortable putting themselves out there or they don't think it will have an impact on their business. But sharing behind the scenes footage or providing value through filmmaking tips online is the greatest way to generate exposure for yourself. It takes time to find your personal style here, but don't be afraid to share content that's unpolished and personal. This actually helps your audience connect with you more. If you think about it and you make a YouTube video that gets 200 views, that's 200 people that chose to click on your video. They didn't get served it, they chose to click on it. And those are really valuable connections to be building, in my opinion. One thing I seriously slacked on earlier in my career was networking, and I found that it really came back to bite me when work slowed down and I didn't have more connections beyond my regulars to keep me working. So I highly recommend networking as much as possible. And not just with people who can hire you, connect with other directors, DPs, and crew members who you might want to collaborate with one day, or meet up with filmmakers that you admire and would like to learn from. As you post online, make sure that you're engaging with your audience by responding to comments, answering questions, and starting conversations. In other words, don't just be a face on the screen for people to watch, but actually be a real person that, people feel like they can reach out and engage with. I think the most important part of building your brand online is having a genuine desire to share your process with others and to provide value for them. And while the benefits from doing so are certainly nice, without this foundational desire to connect with an audience online, you may come across as less than genuine. So you really do want to actually desire to connect with people and share your process and actually enjoy doing that. You want to also evolve over time. So you want to experiment with making different kinds of content until you find what works the best for you. And that's going to always be kind of changing too. You'll also always be surprised at the videos that resonate the most with your audience, like this one.
Hey, what are you guys filming?
Mayonnaise commercial?
A lot of people are looking to monetize their personal brand, which is pretty obvious and understandable. As a freelance filmmaker, the number one reason most filmmakers probably want to build their brand online is to attract new clients, and this is a totally valid hope and expectation. As always, a freelance filmmaking career is usually a bit of a roller coaster ride, but I have found it to be true that putting yourself out there online and building a personal brand is helpful to creating connections that will lead to new work. Just don't expect it to be a flood of opportunities all at once. Try to look at your career as a marathon, not a race. And that applies to YouTube and Instagram and social media too. Like one post is gonna do terrible, next post will pop off. It's just a constant juggling act and balancing act of staying consistent and making sure that you're putting yourself out there. Building a personal brand takes time, and posting consistently to social media is definitely a lot of work and probably more work than you think it is, but I feel like it's an investment that often pays off. Defining your unique style online will help you connect with the right people to help move the needle forward in your career. Look, if you found this video helpful, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more filmmaking tips and breakdowns, and drop a comment below if you have any questions about building your personal brand. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.